Welcome to the You Be the Judge podcast show. My name is Wiri Timoni, podcasting from the lovely Asian paradise of Vietnam. I've been researching over 15 years into various subjects and topics that affect us all in some shape or form, primarily alternative, real news, and exotic information. I always say the truth can set you free, but first it will piss you off. Okay, our guest on the show is new Lynn candidate Steve Oliver. Kia ora, Steve, and welcome to the show.
Kia ora, Willie. Thanks for your time, brother.
No worries. So let us know who you are, your background, and what you're standing for.
Okay, bro. Yeah, I mean, I've been based out here in New Lynn my whole life. My father was Don Oliver, and through the '60s and '70s, he was bit of a prominent sporting for New Zealand. He was an Olympic lifter and went to 4 Olympics as a flag bearer and Commonwealth gold medal, and done well. And yeah, he was prominent through those times, and he opened a string of gyms up, and the family lived on site here in Glen Eden. He started in the basement underneath the house, and from there he built on the section here. I still live on site here, and then the business done well, and he opened up a string of gyms through New Zealand. At the time, there was just him, Les Mills, and Clive Green really in the gym in the 80s, and I grew up with the likes of Les Mills, who was the mayor of Auckland at one time. He was like an uncle, little Precious McKenzie, all these, sporting figures. I was exposed to a performance-based lifestyle, and my dad was a really focused man, and there was always goals, there was always priorities, there was always, how to live your life and become successful, and it was drilling that home to us. And we're a Christian family. We basic Christian values, and no, it was great. West Auckland was a great place to be, and he was a lifter, so I just naturally followed suit. I lifter from about early age. I started lifting weights. I was left on site here. I started lifting weights, and that progressed. And then I went to ships as a junior, and won a bronze medal in '94 as a lifter. And then from there, and I'd always wrestled. I mean, my grandfather was a boxing coach, so we'd always thrown hands around and wrestled a young age also, and then I saw this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I saw it on a pirated DVD back in the early '90s, just as I was finishing my lifting career. And I'm asthmatic, so I got too big, and I wanted to find something else, that was going to be a hobby. I thought it'd be a hobby because I'd been quite hardcore into the lifting. I thought I just want to get fit, you know what I mean? So I started. I thought it was going to turn into twice a week. It turned into something that I was training 3 times a day. And then I moved over to the US, lived in the US, and trained and fought for 10 years, from the early '90s and then from Sydney, and finished my training over there. In the process, I spent a couple of years in Brazil, just fighting and traveling once again. And moved home about 10 years ago and started up, the family gym, and continued on. My dad died when I was in my early 20s, just as I left New Zealand shores. He died, so just continuing on the family legacy of trying to give back to community through the gym. Providing just all the good stuff, man. So we've got a gym just down in New Lynn, and we've got a couple of gyms. There's one in Wellington, one in Browns Bay, and it's been going well. But it's us up to now with the way things are going. I've put my hand up and just want to represent the people, man. Give the people a voice, because all these career politicians aren't doing us any favors. You know what I mean? So I've been waiting. I was looking at our options before lockdown, And I was just thinking, man, I voted for Winston Peters in the last election on his immigration policy. I thought, oh, we need someone that's going to stand up. And when he was jumping all over that, and I thought, okay, he's our man. And then he just flipped a clean 180 and signed up on that UN arrangement, which is basically an open doors policy for immigration. And, no accountability, man. They can just, they can really promote something and just, not follow through. And there's just no accountability anymore. And I've been waiting for something to pop up, looking at our options leading into this election with the lockdowns and everything. Everything's getting pretty urgent. And there was no one really, it just looked like more of the same to me. Red, blue, it doesn't matter. We all get the same product. We get the same result, just a different version. And they're selling us out, election after election, and it's just in different ways. So when Billy popped up, man, I was, excited, really excited, and I came upon an opportunity to represent our area, and I took it. So here I am, brother.
Why are you actually supporting Advance New Zealand?
Mate, they're the only ones bringing up the real issues. Honestly, like they have the leaders debate this week, and they're just bringing up the same issues, man. They bring up real low-level issues, but the elephant in the room is the UN. We're basically being run by the UN and the Chinese country. It's a basic East Chinese influence, the CCP in New Zealand, man. I mean, just scary. I mean, it's scary the amount of involvement that China has in this country. I mean, and no one's aware of it. There's people in both parties right now under investigation for receiving money from China. And man, there's only two main parties here. It doesn't matter who anyone votes for. CCP's got his hand in the jar. You know what I mean? But just the country's just selling us down the road as far as selling our assets, you name it. It's all up for grabs as long as it makes the books look good for them on their election, and then they move forward. They wash their hands of it and they're off. You know what I mean? There's just no accountability, mate. And that's what Billy's all about. He's about giving the power back to the people. Accountability. This government talks about transparency. Dude, there's no transparency. None. You know what I mean? She grandstands on issues, for example, Christchurch. She grandstood all over that with her face up and down, and Dubai on billboards,
yes,
skyscrapers and everything. And then she, she's caring, she loves everybody, comes back and then puts the whole investigation on a gag order. Why would you put the investigation on a gag? Why would you put that behind closed doors? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It affected the country. It's our first real terrorist attack here. She stripped our rights in a weekend, our gun rights. And then she puts the investigation behind closed doors. What's that all about? We're supposed to be transparent, aren't we?
And if you mentioned the terrorist name, you'd be ostracized.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I just don't get it, mate. Just things aren't adding up.
So give us your thoughts on the current government and their handling of the corona crisis back there in New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, she says, she keeps pumping this thing, oh, we went hard and we went early. She didn't go that hard that early. You know what I mean? They had to put a petition in to try and get them to shut the borders. You know what I mean? So we did that. And even still, right, early days, halfway through, there were still people taking on their phones, walking in and getting a flyer. That's not going that hard. You know what I mean? It wasn't too many processes in place right through. You know what I mean? They shut down a lot of the flights, but those flights that were still coming in, there was no processes. There was you getting a flyer and saying, if you feel sick, ring us up. You know what I mean? But now she's saying that, we cracked it. The real benefit here is that we're set for the government is that we're an isolated country. So we got isolated, which is, not that hard. But I mean, fair enough. We didn't know what was happening, mate. You know what I mean? We were getting told it was this thing was like, it's Ebola. We all thought the same thing. We didn't know what the numbers were. We didn't have any statistics. So we locked down, right? Panic buy, sit at home and peek out the windows and wait for it to pass. So we did that. And elimination was our only option at that stage. We didn't have any research to back anything up. We didn't know what we're dealing with, so we had to play that game. That was fine. That makes sense. But now we've got all the numbers, mate. We've got all the numbers. Thing's not much more releasing from the WHO and the CDC is that this thing is not much more lethal than the flu. And these, extreme measures of locking down, aren't working.
No, they're not working. I mean, look at Sweden.
We come back to this leaders debate they just had on the weekend, during the week. What's their end game? They won't tell us. What's the end game on eradication? What's that? Because it's a film, mate. How do you eradicate, like the flu? How do you eradicate it? It's impossible. It's never going to happen, bro, unless you're going to lock the borders down forever and we're just going to sit in this bubble and
live in a bubble.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go bankrupt, mate, forever. Their end game is the vaccine, and it's plain to see. But that's what they're moving towards. They're not verbalizing it, but they're not talking about what their end game is. They're just dealing with case by case, mate. They're just making it up as they go. Yeah. And I think, like there's a strong movement coming here. It's called some high-level doctors behind it, some just people taking the facts and breaking it down and moving forward on a something that makes sense. And that's look after our elderly and our immune deficient, and open up the borders and let's get back on with it, man. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, let's get on, eradicate this thing. And it's not much more. What would you lock down New Zealand for bankrupt the country for the flu? Never.
Exactly.
Never. It just doesn't make sense.
I see a crisis of this nature as opportunities for people to impose greater restrictions and take advantage of people. And I see what actually they're doing. It's kind of like a totalitarian tiptoe. So they're tiptoeing their way along. It's like going to a gate. No one's raising their eyebrows or protesting. So they'll take it to the next gate. So they're like doing it in small increments where people aren't really jumping up and down. And I see that's how they're trying to progress through. It's called that totalitarian tiptoe.
Yeah, it's death by 1,000 cuts, mate. You know what I mean? And one of the main principles that the Nazis used was they used to pump out that it's for your safety. It's for your safety, guys. It's for your safety. And on the pretense of it's for your safety, you can basically do whatever you want, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're stripping everyone's freedoms. Stripping everyone's rights right under them, and everyone's applauding. This is the problem over here. You got everyone on the base level on the first phase looking the information. They're all applauding, clapping their hands, saying, "Thanks, Jacinda. Thanks for keeping me safe. Thanks. It's just you're the best. You know what I mean?
Thanks for putting your knee on my neck."
Yeah. I'm at home peeking out the blinds. I can't go anywhere, but thanks for keeping me safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very psychological, very psychological. Okay, let's look at the election race back there in New Zealand. What does it look like right now as we lead up to election date?
Mate, it's a massive campaign. I'll tell you right now, Advanced NZ was getting a lot of traction. And, I mean, there was a lot of bad media out there. We've been caught in, all kinds of things, mate. Conspiracy theories, all that, mate. I'll tell you what. Anytime you question the agenda or you're getting called a conspiracy theory, it's just easy. It's just laziness and it's just easy. And we get bagged that. But I'll tell you what, Billy's one of the most, science-based, factual guys that just quotes numbers, man. He just quotes statistics. And, this stuff has been... it's legit, man. He's just quoting facts. So he sits back and does all that. So we were getting a lot of traction. All good, but people were getting exposed to us. In the last 3 weeks, mate, it's just been radio silence. They're not talking about us being conspiracy theories, not talking about anything. The parties are panicking. It's the fastest growing political party in New Zealand. It's exciting.
Wow.
Bro. It really is. It's exciting to be a part of. This thing's blowing up on Facebook. The interactions on Facebook and social media is just right up there with Labor. And, Labor's putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and, Advance NZ are on about a $5,000, $6,000 spend. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Our interactions and our coverage is epic. But in the last 3 weeks, mate, we've been getting just blacklisted, eh? Thanks to, no doubt, thanks to the old support package, the old COVID support package of $50 million to media.
Fail stream media, I call it. Not the mainstream media, the fail stream media.
Yeah. Back in my day, that was a bribe. But these days, it's a support package. So, that's doing its job, mate. They've just cut ties, and we're getting left out of debates. We're getting left out of candidates. We're getting left out of everything, bro. People are panicking, mate. Yeah, we're doing good things, bro. The party's doing great things. It's getting a massive amount of traction. People since lockdown, things aren't adding up. And people are looking around, and they're just seeing, man, we're not, the existing system is not working for us. Whoever we vote for, we're getting tucked. And these professional, politicians haven't got our best interests at heart. It's painfully obvious now. So, let's give the power back to the people. And that's what Advance NZ stands for, is give the power back to the people, get this government, get some transparency up in here, and let's do the right thing for the country for once. We're out down here, mate. It's exciting times.
Awesome. So what's your opinions on immigration?
You've got to stop it. I mean, I know you're from Auckland, and man, I was out of here for 20 years, and I'd come back every 6 months to a year, and I just noticed a slight increase in the traffic build up, and I've been here solid for 10 years now, over 10 years, and about 2 years ago, like, I've got a gym over in Browns Bay. I'd drive over there and take me 45 minutes. Within like 2 weeks, it went from a 45-minute drive to about an hour and 40-minute drive.
Wow.
And it just went like that, bro. And it never went back. You know what I mean? And it just reached a bit of a saturation point, I think. And Auckland's not dealing with it, bro. In winter, we've got a drought in the Waitakere Ranges here, unheard of.
Wow, you wouldn't have thought of that.
So who knows? Who knows? Yeah, never. You know what I mean? So we've obviously got too many mouths, and they're selling off our assets here too. I don't know about the water. What the water situation is out here.
Right, water's a big commodity now.
Well, did you see just this week they just released the richest man in the world now? He's a Chinese man. 58.7 bill.
That's a lot.
And guess what he is? Guess what he is, bro? He's a bottled water tycoon.
Is that right? So you wouldn't have thought that. That's the big commodity at the moment.
That's where it's going, bro. And he's got a plant here in Whakatane, bro.
Is that Jenny Shipley's husband?
I don't know. Is he Chinese? I'm not sure. But, these guys are able to, they've been permitted to siphon off 580 million litres a year, and they pay a grand total of $2,000.
I know.
It's pretty good, man.
That's pathetic. And I'll tell you something. I used to stay on a farm in Pokeno, and we had a spring there. And it was a friend's farm, and we had a lot of Chinese come, and they wanted to bottle their water, but my friend refused. He said, no. And we actually done some investigation. We went down to, what is it down in the Blue Spring, which is down in Patararu. And the Blue Spring in Patararu is the biggest supplier, one of the biggest suppliers of water throughout New Zealand. They supply to Coca-Cola. And we went to the council. We said to the council there, okay, Coca-Cola's got this the spring water, and how much are they paying? And they said 500. And we said, what, 500 million a year? And they go, no, $500 a year. We said, what? They're taking billions of litres of water a year, and they're only paying $500 to the council. And this was, I couldn't believe what we heard. So we'd done the actual investigation. So the amount of money these big companies are paying is nothing.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Oh, disgusting. Like, in New Zealand, man, we're supposed to be clean green. I mean, the amount of 1080 they're dropping now, it's not so great. But we're right down the bottom. We've got a great image, and we're just selling ourselves cheap, bro. We don't value where we are. We don't value who we are. These guys are trying to do is make the books look good every time they get in power so they can try and get in again, but they're just throwing us under the bus, bro. They're just selling us down the road, and it's got to stop. It really has. Now, just this week, I think, or last couple of weeks, Silver Ferns are 50% owned by a Chinese company. Silver Ferns,
The netballers?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, gone. Westland Milk, 100% Chinese owned. Oceania Dairy Group, 100% Chinese owned. As far as, Chinese infiltration or economic takeover in New Zealand has got to be as an issue, as a country.
Yes.
We got the US Congress. The US Congress it's been brought up in US Congress that New Zealand is so infested with CCP influence that we should be kicked out of existing share between the two countries as far as data or information. We're that infested with CCP, bro. We're compromised. Our whole country's compromised. And I know that we have got, part of the Five Eyes or the,
yes.
Data sharing or spying. They're talking about kicking us out because we're so compromised down here with Chinese, influence.
I fear the worst.
It's serious, man. But these guys, well, it's communism.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's communism.
And that's the thing. We need a government in there that can protect our resources and, one that has some good hindsight for the future. But the way that Labor's going at the moment, it's just going to be a big sellout. And I fear the worst for the country under a Labor government or even a national government. Can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on justice? And are there going to be harsher penalties for serious crime?
Once again, bro, I think a high percentage of people, of the population are over slaps on the wrist for serious crime. We need to start dropping the hammer, bro. You know what I mean? And the martial arts culture. And it's well known that when you go onto the mat, you go on there, you're respectful, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what religion you are, doesn't matter, what sexual orientation you are. No one cares. No one cares. Everyone treats everyone with respect.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you why. Let's break it down. Why is that? Why is that? Because there's consequences. We're training. If there's an issue, if you're disrespectful to somebody, it gets dealt with. You know what I mean? There's consequences. So everyone walks in there, have some consequences. Let's see. We need to have, take this, everybody gets a medal. There's no losers. Man, it's an absolute broken model. You know what I mean? We need to have some consequences here, bro. We need to really start dealing with serious crime seriously. And especially, crime against kids, bro, pedophilia and stuff. They're doing some great things in Queensland just at the moment, really dealing with that issue hard, They're dealing with, if you get caught for convicted for pedophilia, they're seizing assets, serious time in jail. Most of the world these days, you're a pedophile, you're, it's a slap on the wrist and it's almost, a non-event. You know what I mean? And then also, if you sexualize dummies, a baby, a young child, they have these sick things, this dummy, like a sex toy dummy, but it's almost like a life-like kid. If you get caught with one of these things in Queensland, 20 years jail, instant. So, man, let's do it. Let's grow up here and let's actually have some consequences in society.
Yeah.
100%, bro.
Awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about your stance on abortions. I see Labor has passed a law to decriminalise abortions back there in March this year.
Mate, a sister baby that's been, tried to be terminated, that is born live, they don't even have to assist it and put it out of its misery, mate. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? We just had a little baby here. We've got our little girl, Georgia. She's 3 weeks old, man. She's still not full term. Oh, man, if we can't stand up for it, we can't stand for anything. We don't stand for anything, bro, as far as I'm concerned. Our youth, these are innocent kids, mate. If a murder for, for an adult that's done a murder, this is a guilty, but you'd murder a kid that couldn't defend itself, that's innocent. Society's twisted, bro. the options of adoption, and give the person other options rather than just to terminate. You know what I mean? Like helping people. I know parents who adopt over here, and they make beautiful parents. There's kids out there getting terminated that should and deserve a chance at life. You know what I mean? I think we need to merge the two and educate. And
So, what do you think of the government documents which show consideration for no jab, no job style proposals? What's your opinions on mandatory vaccinations?
mate, vaccinations. I mean, this is a process. A lot of people don't really engage, especially people that haven't got kids. Demographic that does switch on quite early is athletes, because they take responsibility for their health. You know what I mean? At a young age, our family for something, and I just seen, man, because Coke and Sprite and fizzies weren't here, so we went over there and we just inundated with fizzies, man. I couldn't believe it was just paradise. We were just used to drinking water, and Dad used to get us drinking this boiled up nastiness. Silver beet juice, you know what I mean? Then Dad sat us down and said, hey, you can't drink this stuff like water because it's going to destroy your health. Your teeth are going to fall out, and it's, basically, cash in on destroying people's health. That doesn't make sense. So then it was just, there was just a small little switch went on, okay, they don't care. Older fluoride. Well, what's fluoride about? Well, fluoride, it's supposed to be topical. It's not supposed to be ingested. And even if it was supposed to be ingested, but giving it on season, so I could drink half a litre, or I could drink 10 litres. So if it's a medicine, that doesn't make sense either. You know what I mean? What's that all about? It's actually been registered as a neurotoxin. So just get all these things that it just doesn't make sense. And then when I was young, before 1980, I think it was three vaccinations was your lot. Now, if you follow the program, it's up to 70 vaccinations over your lifetime. 70. Well,
That's a lot.
that doesn't make sense. Next minute.
Wow.
And that's not including a flu jab every year. Throw that in on top. You know what I mean? So, just start doing a bit of research, and then you start seeing, peanut allergies and autism through the roof. It just spiking after that. All the new vaccine program came in. Mate, it's common knowledge that parents come in and say, mate, my kid's been vaccine injured. And it happens more regularly than you'd possibly think, man. And a lot of it's attention deficit, autism, just on the spectrum. It ranges right through the skill. The parents that can tell are the ones that, obviously, if they've had the injection and the kid has never been the same mentally, he can't concentrate, or he doesn't act the same as he used to and stuff. I've heard it so many times. But they've got to go home and deal with their kid that's been injured. There's no big pharma paying for their campaign to tell the public the truth, But big pharma's got billions, so they tell their side of the story. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I see that they've brought that law out in the States. You can't take any of those big pharma companies that make vaccinations to court. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No liability at all. No liability.
Yep, no liability.
What's the motivation to get it right? Crazy, bro. Unbelievable.
Okay, so what are the perceptions like of the people there in New Zealand at the moment in regards to the issues you're concerned with? What is the New Zealand public thinking?
People are over this, this bullying and calling people conspiracy theories, and there's a lot of people that are scared, or I don't know whether it's scared or lazy. They don't want to engage, and they don't want to find out, because if it's true what we're saying, then they have to do something. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just want to go about their business, get in the sand and hope that it's going to be okay. But I tell you what, it's just getting worse and worse over the last years. It's just happening at a higher rate, and since this lockdown, it's just been, just an onslaught of attack on our freedoms. So there's a lot of people waking up, mate, and there is a demographic, like I said, the athletic, people that do take responsibility for their health are a little bit more switched on, and just a normal guy that doesn't really care about his health. He just goes with the flow. But in saying that, everybody's waking up, mate. You're seeing a lot of people now starting to question the narrative. You know what I mean? Because the media is just so one-sided now. Like, hey, it just doesn't add up. What they're saying doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I tell you, I don't even own a TV. We do, but we just have, the Apple box and just play movies and stuff. But you listen to mainstream for 5 minutes. It's just white noise, mate. All they're doing is they're just playing. They're telling everybody that they're going to die, or everybody's going to die soon with COVID, or they're bagging Trump. You know what I mean? That's about it. That's about all they. It's coming. People are coming around, man. It's exciting. Like I said, Advanced New Zealand's growing political party in New Zealand history, and that's for a reason. People are over it. They've pushed too hard and woken up a lot of people, man. It's exciting times.
It is. It's awesome. So what is the ultimate outcome you would like to see?
Let's get Advanced New Zealand in Parliament. I'd just love Advanced New Zealand to get in there. They just want pure transparency on everything. They want to kill GST on foods and get the economy going again. Farm getting a hard time. They've got so many, with a zero output too, and they're just killing farmers and small business, mate. You try and get a consent. You just about need it. Honestly, you just about need a GPS to get through the proposal, and honestly, and every turn you've got to pay somebody. I've been through council here locally, mate. It's just absolutely
too much red tape.
Honestly, you need someone through the red tape's an understatement, mate. You know what I mean? So, Advanced New Zealand have got it all on lock, mate. They want to, get us as a people, just get us out of all these deals that have just basically every deal that we do with international bodies is just chipping away at our resources and stuff. It's all about. They basically say that every deal we've done in the last 20 years has been to the benefit of the other party. So let's reassess all these deals. Let's get the New Zealand at the forefront for once, and let's make a difference, bro. Let's get the CCP out of here.
And I know a lot of New Zealanders are depressed, and they thought there was no other options. And then when Billy came along, it was kind of like this light. Okay, great. And everyone is starting to wake up, I see, and I'm really happy to see the traction that Advanced New Zealand's getting, and especially the party's been only going for 3 months or so. I mean, it's one of the quickest gaining parties I've ever seen. Hey, little baby,
this is fastest growing little party in New Zealand history, bro. Just amazing.
On election day, I think you guys will get a lot more people voting for you, because I see there are a lot of people out there who are scared to actually say anything online. But when it actually comes to voting time, I feel a lot of them are going to vote for you guys because they can see what's really happening. But they don't want to speak up because, they may lose their job or their family might say something.
Yeah, mate. I'll tell you, that's a sad fact, mate. You know what I mean? Once they get to a certain status, they really do value their profile. So they just stick to it, you know what I mean? And I've heard of influencers being, paid money to bag the party as far as full of conspiracy theorists and all the rest of it. And it's sad, man, because corruption, mate. Corruption is what's destroying the planet at the moment. And there's a lot of people not sleeping straight in their beds, mate. They're all taking the money. Right down to this country here, everybody thinks, it won't happen here. That's exactly why it will happen here, and that's why exactly it is happening here. I think you're right, mate. A lot of people are scared, and they don't want to put their hand up because they get labelled with a conspiracy, you know what I mean? Because it's not popular. It's not popular. But I tell you what, it's the truth.
It's right. And it makes sense.
Driving around by themselves. We're so scared of the flu. It's absolutely embarrassing, mate, honestly. And I think, moving forward, I think future generations are going to laugh at us, mate.
I know, in the history books. Did that civilization back then really do that? Hey, look, Thank you for joining us
mate.
today, mate, and for your contributions to society. I wish you all the best for the campaign, and I always say have a great life, not just a great day.
Awesome, brother. You too, brother. Appreciate your time. Yeah, Advanced New Zealand team, whether you're overseas voting is open. Let's make a difference. Let's do something. Let's do something different. Yeah, guys, let's make New Zealand great again.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
Awesome. Thanks, Willie.
All right, people, thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and YouTube, You Be The Judge World, and email us at youbethejudgeworld@gmail.com. See you guys on the next podcast, and remember, the truth can set you free, but first, it will piss you off.